What's up guys, Matt back again, and this is the Ichiban Kuji Dragon Ball Snap Collection. And in today's video, we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the entire set. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. This Kuji begins with a character who needs no introduction, but now in a very different look. Son Goku. We get lots of Goku figures of the character in his gi or as a Super Saiyan form of sorts. It's really refreshing to get something different such as this Goku wearing a jacket and pants riding a bike. If this figure looks familiar, that's because it's based on a wonderful illustration by Akira Toriyama. If you've never seen the illustration, first of all, I highly recommend taking a look at that beauty, and second of all, maybe you recognize it from the old desktop Real McCoy from Mega House that also made a figure based on that illustration. Whatever the case, I love the source that this figure went with. Now, this whole Ichiban Kuji set is clearly different than our regular Masterlies figures, and that's simply because they aren't Masterlies. Bandai decided to change things up this year between August, September, and October. I wanted to point that out in the event anyone confuses these with Masterlies figures. Now, Goku's likeness is great. I love his happy face that's been effectively recreated with his smile and blushing under his big, rounded eyes. They sculpted out his eyebrows really well and even added a little mark under his bottom lip for extra detail. I'm also a big fan of when Goku's hair is being affected by his environment, so seeing it blown back by the winds flying in his face from his bike ride is an awesome look on a figure. I also love the texturing that's been done on the spikes of his hair on his head to show each of the individual strands. There are so many details on the sculpt, from his Noibu on his back, the vest blowing back in the wind, Goku's name tag on his hands, or just the small bits of the bike itself. My only issue with the sculpt is the large base under Goku. I wish they had found a way to display him with maybe smaller supports held underneath the wheels. I also find that the paint of the figure, while being very bright and colorful, lacks enough shading. You can see some uses of shading on his pants, but that seems to be about it. There might be some on his green jacket too, but I'm not so sure. The figure is also a little smaller than I prefer in my Ichiban Kuji figures, but he's much bigger than, say, a regular Crane figure, and came out a lot bigger than I thought. I think this Goku figure is a real delight, and one of the better non-Masterlies Kuji figures I've had the joy of owning. Next up, we have the eldest son of Goku replicating the same vibe in his figure, Son Gohan. I've been really wanting a Gohan in his high school uniform as a Masterlies figure, but this is the next best thing, at least for now. Now, while Goku is based on a manga illustration, this Gohan figure goes in a way more layered approach, as it's based on the anime opening, We Gotta Power, which uses imagery of the Goku illustration as an homage to Toriyama in the animation. We Gotta Power might be my personal favorite anime opening of all time, so this reference pulls on my heartstrings just a bit. We Gotta Power might be my personal favorite anime opening of all time, so this reference pulls on my heartstrings quite a bit. Gohan looks really good in the face and nearly identical to Goku, but there are definitely some small differences like his eyebrows and eyes that make him his own person. Gohan also has similar detailing on his face to Goku. His hair is blown back from the wind of riding his bike too, but I think it looks a tiny bit more awkward than Goku. It's certainly not bad, but just not as aesthetically pleasing as Goku in my personal opinion. Gohan's bike seems largely the same as Goku. I'm sure it was an easy recycle for Bandai to do in order to include both characters. I actually like the uniformity of both figures since they pair so well together. Gohan also has really nice details like his high school badge on his chest and his school bag strapped around him. The figure being on a base is a nitpick I have just like Goku, but it's not a deal breaker in any way. Unfortunately, this Gohan has minimal shading only seen on his pants. I really wish they'd done proper shading on all Ichiban Kuji figures, but I guess they have to pull back on budgets somewhere. The Gohan scaling is much like Goku where he isn't too small at all, but not quite the size I'd like to see. Even with his faults, Gohan feels like a wonderful, refreshing prize and pairs really well with Goku in this set. Now here is a figure that I'm very surprised with. In the year of 2024, we have been celebrating the 40th anniversary of Dragon Ball. So with that, we've seen a ton of Kid Goku everywhere. This Goku, like nearly everyone in this set, is based on a Toriyama illustration, and man does it look accurate. It's not often that we get to see Goku in more of a steampunk looking outfit, so I'm all for it. His and his little monkey friend's likeness are perfect. They both capture Toriyama's style really well with their rounded eyes, small blushes, and anime eyebrows. Goku's head sculpt is a bit unorthodox as he has pilot goggles on with his hair poking out in bits at the top. The Noibu in his hand is also a really nice touch that gives the figure some more dimension too. I'm also a big fan of the texturing done on the monkey to highlight his detailed fur. Goku's also one of the figures in this set with no base to stand on, and he almost looks like a Masterlies. The two areas with this figure that I'm personally a bit disappointed in would be the lack of shading, which is only seen on his pants, and his scaling. I don't think this figure is a bad size, but I wished he was a bit smaller to scale with Masterlies figures. It would have been a perfect fit, but he does come off a tiny bit too big when compared to my Masterlies collection. So close, but not quite. But that isn't that important. He He's still fantastic, and if you're not a fan of bases, but like unique looking figures like this, then I'd highly recommend him. Lunch is a fan favorite character in my home. My fiance started watching Dragon Ball from start to finish for the first time last year, and one of her favorite characters in the beginning was Lunch. For us to see Lunch appear in an Ichiban Kuji after not getting a whole lot of figures, plus being basically forgotten in the anime, it was a big deal. Lunch is based on this Akira Toriyama illustration. I'm starting to wonder if we get Snap Collection sets in the future if we'll get something like my favorite from the Buu Saga. While this wouldn't be my first pick for a Lunch figure, I do love the reference and her look. I'm still praying for a mass release sometime soon, but I know Bandai will eventually get to it. This Lunch though has a wonderful looking likeness, though it is incredibly simple. I feel as though her face isn't as detailed as the rest of the set, and I'm not sure if that's a preference for Bandai when making female figures or something about the Dragon Ball style that they're trying to emulate. Lunch is wonderfully crafted in her sculpt though. Her hair looks nicely made with her bow wrapping it up. It's also the only part of the figure with shading, oddly enough. Her bike is super cute and is able to display with no base included. Another little feature is how the front of her bike can swivel and change direction, but only when she's not seated and attached to the handlebars. Lunch is also the smallest figure in the set, looking pretty small compared to most Ichiban Kuji figures, even the ones in this set. She definitely wasn't intended to scale at all, and at least makes up for being so small by including her bike. Unfortunately, Lunch comes out as my least favorite in this set, but she's still a fun release. This time, I made sure to grab one particular Ichiban Kuji prize outside of the figures and found a great deal that not only included the entire set besides the last one prize, but some extra goodies from the Kuji. I'll start off with prize E, which is an actual ceramic mug of Lunch, Krillin, Goku, and Roshi. It's a reference to when Lunch is yawning and the others hide thinking she's going to go berserk from a sneeze. It's nice to get away from those cheap plastic cups and get something that actually feels a little more premium. I mean, listen to this. Now that is quality. The mug is really small, which for a man like me isn't fitting since I like my coffee mugs big for tons of caffeine intake. I also got these rubbers, keychains, and coin purses. I kept a couple of the keychains, but figured I would just give these out to random friends over time. Of course, they included some towels that have some cute designs on them, but I have so many Dragon Ball towels from Kuji over time that I think I'm good on these too. Finally, I got these stickers. I decorated them on my PC and my new gallon water jug that I bought recently to keep myself hydrated. My fiance and I are prioritizing our health as we start to build a family, so we gotta make Goku proud while representing the franchise. If you have any questions on these small prizes, please let me know in the comments. Now, let's get on to our last one prize. Gohan wraps this Kuji up with a pretty cool last one prize. We had a lot of unique figures made in this set from Toriyama illustrations, but this one goes all out with that idea. Gohan is based on a Toriyama illustration from the manga of him dressed as Sun Wukong from the Journey to the West story. The figure takes it a step further by taking him from the long-running DBZ anime ED Zenkai Power and making him and Shenron, or at least a version of Shenron, into a figure from it. This is so unique and amazing to have as a figure. Gohan's likeness is perfect. He has a very determined and powerful look on his face with details like the blush lines and big round eyes. Gohan's sculpt is simple from a texturing perspective, but has plenty of cool details and looks so dynamic by making his sash and scarf blow in the wind. Shenron looks just like he does in the outro of the show with his cartoonish iteration. All of his scales have been sculpted in, his wooden horns are textured, and they sculpted in the clouds wrapped around his head. The figure is very colorful and bright, but unfortunately only has shading on his clouds. It's not a deal breaker at all, as I still think all of the colors used and the metallic painting on Gohan's staff makes up for it. The figure itself is pretty heavy and somewhat big, at least from how much space it takes. Gohan on top is a little smaller than something like the Gohan from Strong Chains, but technically scales well with other figures. Shenron's head is huge, more so than our regular Shenron figures. The figure holistically is pretty spectacular and doesn't have to be a masterpiece to really win me over. I have to say, it's my favorite figure in the entire set. So those are my thoughts on Ichiban Kuji Dragon Ball Snap Collection, and I gotta say I'm pleasantly surprised with a lot of the figures in this set. I think they came out a lot better than I was expecting, and there are a few on here that I'm even considering putting in my top 10 best figures of 2024. But those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you made it this far in the video, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you want to go even further beyond and support the channel, then you can become a YouTube member today, starting at $3. That gives you access to our growing Discord community where we do watch parties, play games, talk Dragon Balls, and of course, go over Ichiban Kuji leaks. And if you want to take part in our monthly giveaway, we're giving away a Crane figure, Ichiban Kuji figure, and an entire Ichiban Kuji set every single month for our $10, $15, and $20 members respectively. But I think that's all I've got for you guys today. So until the next video, guys, I will see you all later.